Hey guys, Crewcaster here. For today, we're going to talk about something pretty important that has people worried about PSO2 New Genesis, and that is the change of its anti-malware or anti-cheating tools for the PC version. So this is changing the N-Protect game guard that we currently have in favor for the Wellbia's Zyncode 3 program. For those of you who don't know, these programs act as a middleman in between us, the clients, and the servers of the game once you are playing. And anything that you send to the servers is being checked by this program, making sure that you're not using any cheat engines or modifying your memory, what is being sent out, so they don't do things like having infinite photon power, or things like ranged attacks when you are using melee attacks, killing everything around you or in the whole room. Or things like God mode, where you're not taking any damage, or even stuff that you're sucking in all the enemies of the room, killing them instantly, which has been done with N-Protect Game Guard, as these videos are from 4 months ago and 11 months ago. So because of these things, among others that have been happening in the game, people have been calling to action for Sega to do something about it. So this may be their answer to try to solve some of those issues. However, people are very upset about this change for reasons that we'll get into in a little bit. But for the article here on the website, they'll be implementing this Wellbia or Zyncode 3 starting the 1st of November for the Windows and Epic versions on PC, and then the Steam version the following week on the 6th. What is interesting, though, is that you'll be able to switch to the previous N-Protect Game Guard via the game launcher. So if you don't like the Zyncode 3 or it doesn't really work for your current computer, then you can switch back to N-Protect Game Guard to still run the game as it was before the update. I imagine they're doing it this way, so it isn't just a full force, you have to use this right away. They're mainly testing it to see how it works for the player base. Or who knows, maybe they're just still in a contract with this one here, so they have to keep it on the game. Regardless, though, this will be applied to the game. The only thing you can do is switch off of it for N-Protect Game Guard. So it will still be downloaded, just keep in mind, and maybe down the line they'll completely get rid of N-Protect Game Guard and only have this as an option if people don't mind it too much. To switch, they note down below that when you run the game launcher, you can check a compatibility mode under Preferences, the Features tab, and Game Launch. Right now, I don't quite understand why they allow you to switch, because if it is to combat hackers, then why would you let somebody switch back to the N-Protect Game Guard to still use the same exploits as before? I'm not quite sure how it all works, but maybe it's just, like I said, a testing phase just to see if it even works with the game in the first place. Now, let's get into what Wellbia or Zyncode 3 even is. So, first off, this is their website. It's protect your games from cheaters, and they have these different options here. It's all Zyncode 3, that's the program that they use, but they have different versions for it, for PC, mobile, and even console. So maybe if Zyncode 3 works well enough for PSO2, they might do it for console as well, but that's just, a theory right now. But they say they have like a whole bunch of partners that people use with this service, currently 272 service games, and a whole bunch of different users. This number, I don't believe, is accurate as of today, because when I looked at a post from a few years ago, October 1st, 2021, they have that same exact number of titles. So I don't think that's just a coincidence. I do believe they don't really update their website often. So that might already show the integrity of this company if they can't even have the proper amount of who they are servicing out there for gaming. But for examples out there, there's a list here of some popular games. Some of these I don't really recognize because a lot of them are Asian games, but maybe like DJ Max Respect you might have heard of with the rhythm game community, Soul Worker, and Blue Protocol, which recently came out for Japan. It's also been used in other games, but subsequently dropped later down the line, like Counter-Strike out in Asia, Black Desert, Terra Online when that was a thing, Blade and Soul used to have it, and among other MMO games that are usually in the Asian space. So it's definitely a tried and tested program out there that many games, even popular ones, use. So it seems like game developers have at least some trust with this. Let's see then what Wellbia is offering on their website that entices game developers to use this product. So for PC gaming protection, they have a list of features here, like detects foreign connections and unauthorized IP bypass blocks, real-time security update application through live game server and game client, creating new patterns by extracting suspicious logs, detection and prevention of various macro input accessories, like things on hardware, mouse, and whatever else, and prevention of resource file modification, a whole bunch of stuff that surrounds prevention and detection on the client's PCs. The way that they're able to do all this stuff, though, is very invasive to the players that are going to be playing your game that this is included on, as this is downloaded on the kernel level of those players' PCs, or essentially the core of people's computers. This allows anything inside to control essentially everything within the system itself. And because it's in the kernel, if anything bad happens, even if it's not the company's fault, it could completely fry your PC or brick it so it's no longer able to do anything, or people can come in through a security hole within that program and start controlling your entire PC. This is why a lot of people are wary over anti-cheat software that downloads on the kernel level, because they're essentially just taking their PC and putting it into their hands. But a lot of software, anti-cheat software, does do this, such as Protect GameGuard, like we just had with the PSO2 New Genesis, and also even Valorant, a popular FPS game with Riot, has a Vanguard anti-cheat software that does the same thing, or downloads on the kernel level. There are several other softwares out there that are on this level, and many games take advantage of it out there, so much so that you've most likely played at least a few of these that use this stuff. So what is the reason why they go to this level? It's because software out there that is trying to cheat with these games are also on the kernel level. Because if anti-cheat is on, like, say, ring 3, for example, it can't detect anything below that with the previous rings. So anything cheating here will just bypass that anti-cheat software easily. To put it simply, as it says here, cheat makers work at this kernel level, and if X company can't give its software the same level of privileges as the cheats here, then they'll be at a disadvantage and can't really combat well against those. Ultimately, it's a sacrifice that needs to happen to not have as many cheaters within the games, and it seems like most anti-cheat software companies out there are very serious about it, so much so that with Riot's Vanguard here, they offer a $100,000 bounty for any discovery of a security vulnerability within that software. So with Wellbia and Zyncode 3, I would think it's the same exact way. I mean, they've been around since 2006, and I don't think they would be around that long if it was that incredibly bad with security and everything else tied to this kernel level. So what is actually the problems with this company or Zyncode 3? Well, according to players online that have played games with Zyncode 3 attached to it, there are a lot of problems. So taking a look at a few of them here with Tree of Savior Forum, don't use Zyncode as the anti-cheat. Very bad idea. Zyncode can auto-ban people with false positives and cause random crashes. So just normal players just playing, sometimes just you get kicked out or auto-banned for no reason, even if you're not using cheats or whatever else. It's also not very effective of an anti-cheat, so apparently just cheaters are still running around rampant. And according to Google, it uses a simple blacklist, and simply renaming any hack executable will allow the hacker to bypass the anti-cheat. I don't know how much this last part holds true anymore because it's from 2015, this post, but this first part is definitely still true because it's addressed even on the official website for Wellbia. Because every time they do their update schedule is like once a month, usually, or something like that. But right here, false positive and error issues is part of the update process. And then also they have this portion in case of false positives and errors where they respond and process it within a certain amount of time from each of the different players. So it's definitely an issue, so much so that they have to keep monitoring it all the time. From what I can tell, it's because of this feature right here, detection and prevention of various macro input accessories, which, you know, getting rid of macros is like a good thing and all because, you know, they don't want bots to macro a whole bunch of things in the game, but this can also catch hardware that isn't meant necessarily to do that, like dedicated software for like Razer devices or other devices that are part of companies that just allow you to have those things function as peripherals for your PC. So it's just completely preventing that for just normal players. Something specific to PSO2 in the same vein is if you use the PSO2 tweaker, or the different launcher for the game that lets you use any of the different kinds of versions of the game, either from Steam, Epic, or Windows, or even the JP versions of the game, this might be essentially screwed over and you can no longer use it because Zyncode might detect it as something that shouldn't be, you know, running or there. And then another thing that might be caught in the crossfire is reshade or gshade. A lot of people use this to apply effects to their screenshots or pictures, but could be a program that Zyncode 3 sees while it's running the game as a bad thing and shut off the game or even ban you. Moving on to the next thing, this is for those that are playing on the JP server but are not in Japan. Because of these two additions here, it detects foreign connections and unauthorized IP bypass blocks, and the block connections using VPN detection functions. Because it's switching over from NProtect GameGuard, these two might actually prevent you from playing over there. Because with Blue Protocol, as we saw, that also uses Zyncode 3. A lot of people were prevented from playing with VPNs on that game. I somehow got through just fine, so you might also be able to just still play, but there is, I think, a higher risk now of you no longer being able to play, and you have to play on the global server. I can't say for sure though, because it did seem that with NProtect GameGuard there was some sort of restriction here, select whether or not to block OS from other countries, so that was a function over there, but this just seems a little bit harsher in terms of that, but maybe with the customization here for Zyncode 3, PSO2, or Sega could choose to not be as harsh with those features. Despite whatever features are actually being utilized, it seems like every single time Zyncode 3 is implemented into a game, it makes the performance overall worse for your PC. So for this person that was playing Blade and Soul, their game was fine at 60 FPS, but then it would drop to like half that, down to 30. Would be a stable 45-50 in some areas before, go down to 25-30, sometimes 10. But it seems like now they're dropping to like 25 FPS, frequently once it was added, those 6 years ago. And people are saying similar things down below, where they have, very bad frame drops, like this person not having huge FPS drops in crowded areas, stuff like that. For other games like Bless or PUBG, it was also an issue causing major FPS drops for people. It didn't happen to everyone, but it seemed like quite a few players where it was a pretty big problem for every game that was implemented in. And what's funny is even Kropy, who is a current PSO2 NGS creator, also had this issue, among others playing Blade and Soul back in the day, to where when it got removed, there was a noticeable change for a lot of people, as you can see within the comments down below. For the average FPS, slightly better, maybe 5 FPS or so for this person. Had a very nice upgrade in my performance with FPS in general, 35, 40, up to 60 now. It's mainly like spikes were happening with Zyncode, probably when it was doing checks, and making the FPS worse during certain portions where it really made a difference. Another crazy thing that is even tied with the performance is that it would auto start up even when the game is turned off. So it would start up with your PC and not the game. So if you're just opening up other things, it could ban you with the game when you weren't playing it, but playing other things like Flash games or whatever else, or different programs. So because this Zyncode 3 could be always open, checking your information on your PC, it can impact your PC's performance just when you're doing anything overall. And this is where a lot of trust is lost with any company that uses Zyncode 3, because it seems like this anti-cheat is just constantly checking for your information, just checking your files, where you've gone, and apparently it checks up to 48 hours worth and logs all the files and paths you've modified in that time. And what's the kicker to this is that sometimes it doesn't fully uninstall itself, so it could just still be there, lowering your PC's performance, even when you've completely stopped playing for a long time. And this is confirmed by Wellbia themselves on their official website in their FAQ. What should I do when Zyncode 3 related registry files and drivers, x101.sys, remain even after deleting the game client? They give you this uninstaller right here. So basically you have to go out of your way to fully remove this thing even after you've uninstalled the game itself. That is an incredibly bad look. But before they had this uninstaller, this was a problem, and people had to go to their registry in their PC to manually remove it, which is actually pretty dangerous for your computer because you could accidentally delete something that is very vital to your PC. Yeah, very complicated and dangerous. And with all these problems, in the end, it really doesn't stop cheaters, at least according to this person and others, because some people can just break through it within 10 minutes of working on it. And also when you look up on Google Zyncode 3, the third option here is bypass. So you can just look up well-known bypasses online, and it is continuously updated throughout the year. So like this was January 13, 2023, May, February, like all current year to try to get around Zyncode 3. And all this stuff accumulated together is the reason why companies have dropped Zyncode 3, usually because of player backlash after, all these problems have happened. But that's the reason why, like Black Desert, Terra, Blade and Soul have gotten rid of these things, because it hurts their player bases so much. I could keep digging more and more on players' posts from many different games on why Zyncode 3 is bad. Like, this person's PC got destroyed from BDO using Zyncode 3. You know how I said with the kernel level thing, how it could screw up PCs if something goes wrong? Apparently happened there. And there's many more testimonials like this across the internet that you can easily find through different forums and other places. But I think you guys get the point now. I also think nothing good is going to come from Zyncode 3. It seems like it's easily as bypassable as NProtect Game Guards, but with more problems with it, with the bad false positives there and errors and other things where it's not uninstalling correctly. Whole bunch of things that NProtect Game Guard, like, we know how that works with PSO2 right now. I would just rather stick with that and continue along our way instead of switching to this thing at probably one of the worst times that they could choose to use this. PSO2 has already been in a rough spot these last couple of months, and, with this could be definitely a nail in the coffin for people that have just been barely clinging on to NGS in the first place. So this could actually kill the game, I think, if it is as bad as people are saying on the internet. But let me know what you guys think, if you've experienced Zyncode 3 in other games, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.